lest we forget.
Rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden sail and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance. Australia fair, in joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Congratulations to all involved. Put your hands together again, and for those magnificent horses and their handlers. Ladies and gentlemen, find a vantage point, strap yourself in. The 2022 Hames Paints Jericho Cup.
Money has continued on race day. The Mar used to scallop a $3.80 into $3 in the last couple of days, and then $3 into $2.80 today. There has been late support for Bastida, $8.50 into $6.50, with still an $8 chance when they just jumped over in South Australia, so a bit of a late move there. The Rattling Bog $7, Royal Crown $7.50, and Jugular an $8.50 chance. But Bazzini the best backed in today's feature, with late support for the second elect now, Bastida.
This mounting yard.
Now, we must know too was horses not running down Steeple Lane. They'll be running down the straight first time round, hence why there's an extra 52 metres here. But the Jericho Cup, it is the feature. We've got the scratchings, the 10 grand Shanghai, 16, 17 and 18 come out. But let's have a look at the horses now as they parade. Starting off with the top weight, the Kiwi horse Body. Kevin Myers, of course, trains. What are your thoughts, Was? Because got some really nice form heading into today's Jericho Cup.
Well, as with a lot of horses in this race, he's tough. He can jump, he can race on the flat, he's consistent, he's obviously fit, and he's generally well in the market in his races in New Zealand, and that's a good sign, and he's up there, the top of the weight. So he's a deserved contender. He's very tough.
He looks very tough too. He's handling himself really well. He looks to have settled in Australia in good order. The best thing about him is the way he walks. He really stretches out in an ideal manner.
Let's have a look at horse number 2 now. Bazzini, Simon Wild, of course, trains Aaron Carew. It is the favourite. Really good form lines coming into this race, Was. And wouldn't this be a good story? Colin and Janice McKenna looking for back-to-back Jericho Cups.
Yeah, Janice just hobbling through the mounting yard there and looking for back-to-back Jerichos, as you said. He's been targeted at this race. You've got to trust Simon Wild that he can get him fit for this trip, third up. He's got some upside. He's looked like a Jericho contender from early in his career. I think that's the race he's been aimed at. The combination of Simon Wild and Aaron Kuru's got a really good strike rate when they do combine, and the rise in distance suits. He's obviously unknown right out to the absolute trip, but he's been targeted at it. I think he's the one to beat.
Horse number...
Sorry, Matty. I saw him last start at Sandown. I made him a horse to follow into this meeting just because he looked like a Jericho horse. He's presented in a faultless manner today. He moves impeccably well. He's smooth and free as action. He's got the healthiest coat in the yard. He's covered in dapples. It's rich, healthy, glossy. He's bright and alert in his demeanour, and he's fit enough for this.
Horse number 3, Royal Crown, trained by Michael Kent, Will Gordon in the saddle. First up run over 25.40 was really good. Can he get the distance was comfortably?
Well, that's the key, and I think that's the challenge, is to get him to settle well enough to run the trip out. He's probably the horse that's got the proven class of the stayers here to be able to be the dominant horse if he does settle well enough to run the trip out. I know the Connections were very keen to head to the Jericho. Mick Kent took on that challenge. He's got a good rider aboard in Will Gordon, who's going to be able to try and get him to settle as well as possible. If he does, he's right in it.
Walking around with the two handlers, and he's got a really good demeanour on him. He's switched on. He knows it's game time. He's a compact type, so he always has a barrel and looks round through his midsection, but he's fit and ready to go.
Here's another one from the Simon Wild stable, of course, the 2020 winner of the Jericho Cup, Count Zero, Ronan Short in the saddle. Similar kind of preparation leading into this, and gets the firmest track today too, was.
I think you've got to trust Simon Wild the way he's preparing the horses. He's not taxing them with long preparations, but he's won a Jericho. This horse has won a Jericho, so he knows what's required. He'll be fitter. The rise in distance suits, and he's another one that's got that tough warrior that's really suited to the Jericho.
Here's horse number 5, Bastida, the New South Wales Raider. Johnny Sargent trains at Randwick. Darryl Horner Jr. in the saddle. Really impressive victory last start. Won comfortably, was.
I think he has to be one of the leading contenders, because his win last start was dominant, and he beat a horse that this time last year was flogging a number of Jericho contenders in True Marvel. So that form line says that he's the right sort of horse. He's in a great stable in terms of stayers in John Sargent. He's hard and fit. He's a last start winner, and his starting price profile indicates that when he goes around, he's a genuine contender.
From the yard, if there's a horse to beat Bazzini, it would be Bastida. I absolutely adore the way he's presented here, seeing him for the first time, and he's a lean, athletic type. He has great coat on him, he's got great muscle on him, and he's doing everything right.
Horse number 6, Jaquila, wouldn't this be a story? Michelle Payne at Ballarat, Willie McCarthy in the saddle. Enormous first up victory over the 2,400 metres. You know going to get the 4,600 metres, you'd think too, was.
You think he's going to be somewhere on the speed too. He's had a tick over jump out between runs, and he's come here as a last start winner. So Michelle Payne doing everything possible to get this horse in absolute peak condition to be able to compete the Jericho.
This is the best I've seen him conserve his energy pre-race, which is ideal for this sort of distance. He's been dropping his head and really stretching out, cruising around. He's got dapples on dapples, so he's feeling well within himself. Just note the front bandages are on again, and synthetic hoof filler is on for the first time.
Horse number 7, Alienated, trained by Cliff Murray at Sale. Tommy Ryan in the saddle. Good win last start at the Valley.
Well, he's been in a couple of Jerichos previously, so there's no problem with him running the trip. He's acquitted himself well, he's fit, he's a last start winner, and he's tough.
Horse number 8, Border Leicester, trained by the Browns down at Cranbourne. Emily Farr in the saddle. Any push here, was.
He's hard and fit, Matty, but he was well beaten last start. He would need to improve on that performance. Maybe the marathon trip's what he's looking for.
Horse number 9, the Rattling Bog, trained by Aaron Purcell here at the Bull. Aaron Lynch looking for a double. Wouldn't that be a wonderful story as well?
He's going to be part of the speed here, if speed's a relevant term for the Jericho, but you'd think he'd be somewhere there near the speed. He's hard and fit, he's consistent, he's in good form.
He's quite lively in the mounting yard today. He's striding out with a fair bit of purpose, but also being loose in his action at the same time. Plenty of muscle tone as well.
Horse number 11, Bruno Stars, Paulie Prushka at Horsham. Richie O'Donoghue in the saddle. Another one with a win last start.
Another one who's unknown at this marathon trip, but most of them are, Matty. But he's racing well, he's hard and fit. He comes here as a last start winner.
Horse number 12 here, Epazil, Declan Marr. Wouldn't this be a wonderful story as well? Part of that Kieran Marr, David Eustace team, Paulie Hamlin. Great to see him back riding in Victoria.
He's nice and fit, as you would expect horses are going into this race, but he was safely held last start, and he'd need to improve on his most recent performance.
Horse number 13, Azurius, trained by Stevie Pateman, Chris McCarthy in the saddle. Stevie's Road, plenty of winners around this circuit, was it?
Just tweaking the headgear, so Steve knows how to get the best out of this horse. He's hard and fit. Another one who was well beaten last start, would need to improve on that performance, but in the right stable, and the gear changes could be what he's looking for.
What about the 14 Savvy Acquisition, trained by Osty Coffey, Lukey Williams, who's won this race before? This would be a magnificent story, and this is the repechage winner from last year, competing this year.
And he's in winning form. He's probably got to improve on what he did last year. Maybe you could argue that he is improving and maybe maturing and right at his top now. I still think he's got to take it up a level. This is a stronger race than last start, but he's fit and in form.
And the final horse we want to have a look at here is the 15, Will to Excel. well, trained by Jane Ponson, by Lee Horner in the saddle. What are your thoughts here, Was?
He's another horse who's nice and fit, and he seems to stick on well. So gains a start as an emergency. Otherwise, he would have gone around in the consolation earlier on today, and I think he deserves his place.
Well, I tell you what, Wazza, let's have a look now at your all-important selections here for the feature race of the day, which is the Hames Paint Jericho Cup. And have you seen a mounting yard this jam-packed? It's awesome to see, isn't it?
There is a buzz on course, Matty. I'm with Bazzini ahead of Bastida, Royal Crown, Count Zero, 2, 5, 3 and 4.
You should feel the buzz in the mounting yard. It's absolutely going off. Bazzini is the pick of the yard. He is a standout for mine. He has been trained perfectly since I saw him last start at Sandown, and as soon as jockey Aaron Kuru got aboard, he really brightened up. You can see him being a bit cheeky behind the barriers there, but hopefully they get him behind the stalls A-OK, because he gets the tick from the yard. Bastida, I think if there's one to beat him, it could be this guy down from Sydney. He was a real force to be reckoned with. I love the way he was presented in the mounting yard. He couldn't look any better, and Epizeal, if he can run up to his looks, he could be a cheeky place chance as well. He continues to present in really good manner, just a matter of getting his form back up to it. But Bazzini, the pick of the yard.
Porter's come for the firming third elect Bastida, who's been $8 into $6.50 in the last 20 minutes or so. Royal Crown rock solid there at $6. The Rattling Bog a $7 chance, and there's been a little bit of late money there for Alienated, a $14 chance. Bazzini, overall clearly the best backed runner, just pushed out slightly late with money for the third elect Bastida.
Well, Simon, you've got a two-pronged attack here of Count Zero, and the new young gun Bazzini is just being a little bit cheeky behind the barriers.
Yeah, maybe that's a little bit of a concern. I'd like to see him a bit more relaxed, but I think once he gets into the race, he'll be okay. And it looks a nice race for him. You never really know once how they're going to go when they get out this far in trip, but he gives every indication that he'll really stay and hopefully gets a nice smooth run, and he should run well.
What is it about this horse that's made you so adamant in targeting the Jericho? We all know it's been a long gone plan for this horse to be in this race.
Yeah, look, from day one he's just shown no speed whatsoever, and he's a tough sound horse, and he can really stay. Like we sort of identified that pretty early, and he just took a little bit of time to fully mature to be able to cope with all the workload, but that's him now, and I think he'll be, I think they'll have some fun with him over a good few years.
Count Zero won the race 2 years ago. How's he going?
I think he's going well. Like he probably, you don't need to take too much notice of his warm-up runs. He never really runs all that well. Once he gets to 3,000 metres plus, he comes into his own. He's had a good preparation, happy with him. He looks really well. He'll give him something to think about.
So you think he could be a cheeky chance as well?
I think he's over the odds. He's obviously he's getting on a bit now, but I think $20 probably something each way on him. You wouldn't go too far wrong.
Good luck with both of them, Simon.
Thanks very much.
Oh, I'll tell you what, he's got some real key runners here, Simon Wild, and Bazzini, of course, is our favourite Wazza, and horses just milling around the back of the yards, but isn't it just good? The atmosphere here is absolutely electric.
And it's an example of how the Jericho has got into the racing DNA in the racing community. I've seen Mick D in the crowd down here to see the Jericho. Clayton Douglas is in the crowd. It really has got through the racing fans, but it's also got through the racing participants. It's something they really want to either be a part of or be down here to see.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is going to be a wonderful addition, that is for sure. It's the Hames Paint Jericho Cup. They're going to travel over the 4,652 metres, and there'll be a lot of nervous people. There's a lot of local owners too in a lot of these horses. Let's head upstairs now to Rick McIntosh for his call of the Jericho Cup.
$3 Bazzini, $5.50 Royal Crown. Due to be some training effort here. Royal Crown $5.50. He's been well fancied. $7.50 for the Rattling Bog, $5.50 also for Bastida, who's been well backed. They're moving in for the Hames Paints Jericho Cup. 4,650 something this year. Instead of using the steeple lane where the Houlihan treble would always be, they're going to come down the home straight. So they're right in front of you. It'll be a sight to behold, and then they'll go around and chuck a little left and go to Brolly again and do it all over. Border Leicester coming up into line. Good luck to all connections. body to come in the colours made famous at Warrnambool by the great ZM. Bazzini, who wears the colours of Will John, who won the race last year. He's about to move in. Eden Royal Crown will be the last two. The Hames Paints Jericho Cup 2022. Bazzini goes in. Here comes Royal Crown now. Fasten your seatbelts. The battle is about to begin. The Jericho Cup. Thanks to Hames Paints.
The old